after another student was shot inside Wootton High School in Rockville.
I'm heartbroken. I mean, like I said, you never think it happens to you. I mean, I'm still processing it.
That heartbreak and disbelief is echoing across the community this morning, and there's really a lot to unpack here. So let's start with three things that you need to know. First, the shooting happened around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon in a school hallway. As you can imagine, it shocked students and sent the campus into lockdown as families waited hours for answers.
Second, a 16-year-old student remains in the hospital after being shot. Police say another 16-year-old student is in custody as a suspect, but the motive remains under investigation. And lastly, well, some students and families are now calling on the district to increase security, including the use of metal detectors in schools.
Our Lionel Donovan is live outside the school with where the investigation stands right now and how students and parents are responding this morning. Lionel?
Good morning, Simone. As you were saying earlier, a lot of folks here in the Wootton High community trying to make sense of what happened yesterday. And right now, I'm joined by Rockville City Council member Adam Van Grack. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. You have a son that goes to Wootton High, as a sophomore here. First, can you tell me a little bit about what it was like, to deal with all of this yesterday?
Sure. It was an extremely tough day. As a parent, you never want to be in a situation where you're texting with your child and your child thinks that might be the last time that they're communicating with you, and that's tough. And there was not just one victim yesterday, there was thousands, and every student in the school and every parent that had to deal with learning about the incident, not being get a hold of their kid. Heck, I was lucky that I was able to text my son, but not everybody was lucky in not knowing what's going on. So it's emotional. It was a tough day for the entire community. And that's not just the Wootton community, everybody in Rockville who feels a part of this community.
Right, of course. And I'm sure like many parents, you're also wondering about security when it comes to security here at Wootton High. A community engagement officer, we understand, is assigned to the school, but they were dealing with something else at a nearby elementary school. As a parent, how do you feel about security? What needs to happen here?
Listen, security of our schools and our children have got to be the number one priority. It's just not an exception. It's got to be priority, and quite frankly, the county government has done away with school resource officers in the school system. That's a mistake. I know that our police officers in Montgomery County and in Rockville are fantastic. I know that Rockville actually has supplanted that by having community engagement officers at some of our local high schools. I've talked with them, and I have to tell you, the engagement of those officers are fantastic. We have officers literally at school events, and I've seen Montgomery County officers at school events, and the relationship they have with the kids are fantastic. And I can tell you, we got to do more. And our kids want more. Our kids want the security. So we can't shortchange security, and we have to ensure what we have to do to make sure they're safe. Now, I don't know what would or would not have prevented what happened yesterday, but I can tell you that it's got to be a priority, and we must be asking our elected officials, are you supporting the measures that are going to make sure that our kids are safe?
Thank you so much, Councilmember Van Grack. I really appreciate you taking time and speaking with me today. Also wanted to say that Wootton High will be open today. I know some parents have been asking if the school would be open today, and school officials say that the building will be open, and counselors and emotional support services will be available for students if they decide to show up for school today. Back to you.
Lionel, can I ask you a quick question? Can you please ask the councilman how he feels about school being open today? As a parent, as a council member, I'm curious his thoughts, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. Simone, our anchor, is also asking what we just talked about how Wootton High is open today, and counseling and emotional support services are available for students who will show up for school. But, as a parent, as a council member, do you think the school building should be open today?
Absolutely. Listen, school and our schools are a resource, and we have counseling available, or the school does. So it absolutely should be open because there's a resource and its availability. That being said, I can tell you that I have not talked to a single parent, myself included, that their children are going to school today. And there really is post-traumatic stress that has happened to our community. Some parents were not able to be reunited with their children until after 9:30 at night last night. Personally, my son's mom was literally in a car line last night up until like for hours and hours, not being able to get into Frost for the reunification. I actually left City Hall in a city council meeting to be dropped off by another council member about a mile or so away, and literally jogged past the cars while my son's mom was in line to go into the reunification line to get my son to be able to reunify us as a family to get to him, and then went back to City Hall. So aside from all of the trauma that's going on, people weren't reunited for their kids until late at night. And there's a situation, the kids didn't have their backpacks. Everything was actually taken from the kids and left in the school. I mean, it's an active crime scene. It makes sense. So there really needs to be, and I really hope that there is, an understanding that there's kids going to be going to there, so it should not be a mandatory day for kids, because everyone's going to be dealing with stress themselves. Some kids have their own, and families have their own therapists that, quite frankly, they should be with today to deal with the trauma that they went through. So number one, schools should absolutely be open. That's the right decision. But I really hope that the Montgomery County Public Schools will treat today with the type of understanding that when you have an incident like this, families need to deal with this, and the children need to deal with this as best they can to deal with the stress of what happened yesterday.
Thank you so much, Councilman. I really appreciate your time. And there you have it, Simone. I'm going to send it back to you.
Lionel, thank you so much. And council member said something very important. He said, today should not be a mandatory day. I've been literally speaking with some of you online, receiving messages saying, why are my kids going to school today? So we know that some of you share that concern, that anxiety, and that fear as well.